This is the machine lat pull down. And although the name suggests it targets most of the lats, it actually more effectively targets the musculature of the upper and mid back, most notably the TERES. For that seat, make sure you set at a height so whenever you're on the seat about to get that first set in, you kind of have to reach for those handles. This is going to make sure that as you're going that eccentric on that way up, you're not hitting that weight stack on top of each other and missing out on the full range of motion. Also make sure that you have those thigh pads nice and tight on top of those legs, that way you get more stability and are not kind of going up and down on that seat. For those hands, have them 1 to 1.5 hand widths outside shoulder width. If you feel like you're using the biceps a lot on this exercise, you may have those hands too close together. I would also recommend not having too wide of a grip, as this is going to limit your ability to pull that elbow not just down, but back and get the full contraction of those TERES. As you can see right here, my forearm at the bottom of that concentric is almost completely vertical. On that way down, imagine like you are driving and pulling those elbows not just down, but also slightly back behind your body. Try to squeeze at the bottom for at least a second, and on that way up during that eccentric, make sure you're keeping that tension through that elbow. Get a 3 to 4 second eccentric on that way up to get some good time under tension and also improve your mind-muscle connection. On the way down during that concentric, make sure you're leaning slightly backwards, pushing that chest slightly upwards to help bias the TERES musculature. However, make sure it's a controlled leaning back, you're not swaying that body too much, and it looks nice and controlled just like I'm doing right here. One thing that really helps with this is imagine like you're almost doing a calf raise with those feet. Pushing down into the ground, pushing those thighs into those thigh pads, giving you a nice and stable base. Also imagine like you're slightly trying to push those feet down and forward, almost like a leg extension. On that way up, you'll also notice that when I'm going from that leaning back position at the bottom of that concentric, on that way up, I'm allowing my body to come back up to vertical. This is going to allow you to get a little bit more lengthening of those lats. Although we are targeting mostly the TERES in this exercise, we are still targeting the lats as well. And we'll also allow a little bit more lengthening of the TERES as well. Now, I already mentioned it at the beginning, but I can't stress how important it is to drive through the elbow versus trying to grip and pull too much with the arms and the hand. Now, if you really struggle with this because of your grip strength, then definitely use some lifting straps. Another minor thing, but it's worth mentioning, is the machine that I'm using right here. The handles are angled slightly upwards. That slight angle of the handles really allows me to get a little bit better contraction and more natural feel. If the machine at your gym just has horizontal handles without the angle, it's still a great exercise. However, I would definitely opt for a machine that looks like this if your gym has one. Another big difference is the type of machine. This one, as you can see when I'm going down, those handles are the same width. However, at your gym, you may have one that is a diverging lat pull down that kind of looks like this. Now that will put a little bit more emphasis on those lats during that eccentric, because as your hands are getting closer together at the top, it will allow for more lengthening of those lats. However, we'll take some tension off those TERES as those hands get closer together. My preference is to use a machine where those handles stay at the same width. However, if you only have a diverging lat pull down at your gym, it's still a great exercise. Please like and subscribe if you want a big back, and also check out my other exercise tutorials for even more gains.